Imagine a kingdom gripped by fear. A king who smiled as the screams echoed through the palace halls. This was Friedrich of Naples. No history books detail his reign clearly. Few records remain, yet the stories told in hushed whispers across the valleys paint a chilling picture. A ruler who didn't just punish, he terrorized. Friedrich rose to power in a time of chaos. Rebellions simmered, alliances fractured, and enemies lurked in every shadow. He needed obedience, loyalty, and fear. And he had a way of ensuring it: the king's dogs. Not ordinary hunting dogs, beasts trained to tear flesh with the precision of executioners. And the king's prisoners? They became their feast. There are tales of dark pits dug beneath the palace. Prisoners, political rivals, rebels, even those who merely questioned him, were dragged into the depths. The dogs would circle, snarling, awaiting the signal. Friedrich would watch from above, sipping wine. As the screams began, some said he would laugh, others whispered he took notes. The horror wasn't just the act, it was the message: cross the king, and this would be your fate. Step inside Friedrich's palace. The walls were cold. The corridors smelled faintly of blood and fear. Guards didn't patrol, they enforced terror. The prisoners' cries echoed off the stone, a constant reminder to anyone who dared defy the crown. The king's dining halls were adorned with opulence, gold, silks, exotic art. But underneath it all, a secret chamber hid the pits of death. Stories say some prisoners were displayed to the public before their final moments, a warning written in flesh. Courtiers whispered of Friedrich's obsession. He didn't just want loyalty, he wanted total domination. Every glance, every whisper, every hesitation from his subjects had consequences. The dogs became extensions of his will, a tool of psychological warfare as much as physical punishment. One legend tells of a minister who delayed delivering news of a rebellion. Friedrich ordered him stripped and thrown to the hounds. By the time the palace gate opened, nothing remained but blood-stained stone. The remaining courtiers didn't speak. They didn't need to. They had seen the king's mercy, or lack thereof. Feeding prisoners to dogs might seem unthinkable, yet Friedrich perfected it. Not haphazard attacks, but orchestrated events. Some prisoners were starved first. Others were given a final, false sense of hope, perhaps a last meal or a promise of release. And then the trap. The king watched from above. He timed the attack, the snarls, the chaos, the terror. It was all part of the spectacle. Witnesses claimed Friedrich never turned away. Every scream, every plea, only fueled his reputation as a ruler who feared nothing and no one. What made him even more terrifying wasn't just the physical act, it was psychological. People began disappearing overnight. Rumors of secret pits spread. Families would hear a knock at dawn, and those who vanished never returned. The king's dogs became a ghostly symbol, haunting the imagination of the people. Even soldiers who served him longed to flee, but escape was impossible. Friedrich's eyes were everywhere. And the dogs? They were relentless. The people of Nepal lived under this shadow. Villages whispered his name, terrified even to mention it aloud. Mothers told children, "Be quiet, or Friedrich's dogs will come for you." Rebellions were crushed before they even began. Spies vanished. Rivals melted into thin air. Fear became the currency of the kingdom, and Friedrich the richest man alive. Some accounts suggest foreign envoys saw the terror firsthand. They described a king who walked through the palace corridors like a predator, inspecting prisoners as if they were livestock. Diplomats returned home with stories that would chill any court. A ruler so cruel. He fed humans to beasts for amusement, for power, for the sheer pleasure of terror. Time passed, empires fell, kings died. Yet Friedrich's legend survived, not just in records, but in whispers, in folktales, in nightmares. Why do we remember him? Not for wisdom, not for conquest, but for fear. He became a symbol, the danger of absolute power unchecked, of morality abandoned, of cruelty made into theatre. The pits of his palace may have been filled in, the dogs long gone, yet the story lives on. It reminds us, tyranny wears many faces, but its teeth always bite. Even today, storytellers recount his reign. Some say the pits still exist, hidden beneath stone and earth. Others claim the echoes of the hounds still haunt the valleys of Nepal at night. Friedrich's story isn't just horror, it's history, or at least a legend rooted in historical fear. It forces us to ask uncomfortable questions. What makes a ruler cruel? How does absolute power corrupt absolutely? How far can fear shape a nation? The terror of Friedrich of Nepal is a warning. It shows what happens when mercy is abandoned. It illustrates the fragility of humanity under the shadow of power. And for those who dare scroll too quickly, glance at the screen and imagine the snarling dogs, the screams, the shadow of a king who ruled with terror. That memory lingers longer than any fact, because fear is timeless.